Smiley Day Geeks. Welcome back to the Geek Cider Show. I'm Josh.
I'm Anna.
And in this video, we're going to be discussing Critical Role Campaign 3, Episode 10. Can you believe we're 10 episodes in already?
Yes.
If you haven't seen it yet and you want to avoid any spoilers, skip this video and come back later because everything we say from this point forward is going to be a spoiler. I have a feeling I know your favorite part from this episode.
Like literally everything I have to discuss about this episode revolves around like one character and a little bit around another.
And I remember because usually when we watch, you watch until the break and then you go to bed because she's got to be at work early the next morning.
Yep.
You stayed up.
I did because one, they went to break really early, and I was like, usually I stay up until about 12:30 our time. That's what time they go to break, and then I go to bed. But they went to break at like 11:30, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to stay up until 12 or 12:30, and then I ended up staying just a little past 12:30 because I had to know Ashton's story. I had to know, like, I was like, I cannot miss that and possibly have that spoiled. Ashton is my favorite character. I needed to hear that firsthand. I have so many thoughts. First of all, I think that Ashton's backstory drop literally explains almost everything about Ashton. Like everything I've heard about Ashton, every complaint people have had about Ashton, all of it has been explained by this lore drop.
I can't believe people have complaints about Ashton. That's what blows my mind.
Yeah, me either. I'm on a Critical Role hyperfixation and I was out of content, so I went on Reddit, and that was probably a mistake, but that's where I saw like some Ashton hate going on. I was like, no, no.
Bad critter.
Bad critter. We don't hate on them. Foremost, they are not okay with what the nobodies did to them. They are not okay with that. There are so many little tiny clues dropped throughout their entire story about how not okay they are with this. First clue is when they say, like, this is just what you do when you take these kind of jobs. This is what you do. You know this is going to happen. They're rationalizing. Mm-hmm. They are, and this ties back into them growing up in a state home. They didn't have family, so their friends become their family, and they start rationalizing for their friends, because if they don't rationalize for their friends, then their friends aren't their friends, and then they have nobody.
And they have no family.
Yes. And this is like something I was Ashton from age 15 to 25. Like I get him so much. So yeah, that was the first thing, is they're rationalizing their behavior, because if they don't have anybody. Second thing they said that kind of was like ding 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 was, yeah, if we meet again, yeah, there'll be some punches, but that's just how you sort these things out. No, you're still angry. That's why you want to hit them. Mm-hmm. Then they said that I need to hit something when they were talking about possibly doing another B&E for the night. I need to hit something. Yeah, because you're angry, because you're not over this yet. There's still rage in there.
You literally just talked about this to this new group, and it brought up feelings. Yeah. So now you got to hit something.
Exactly. Yeah, because as of now, you've had this unhealthy coping mechanism where you just don't deal with it so that you don't have to worry about those feelings.
And that was the one that I caught on to. I was like, oh, Ashton's not okay.
Yeah. Fourth thing, and these are probably out of order, so I apologize for that, because memory of a goldfish. The fourth thing is that they mentioned, I haven't run with the crew since then. Mm-hmm. That struck. I was like, yeah, because you don't trust people, because the last group of people you trust, the first group of people you trusted, they fucked you over.
Yeah. And we don't know how many years ago that was, but it was years ago.
Yeah, it's been several years.
And as much lore as we got on Ashton's backstory, I feel like there is so much more.
Oh yeah, I have theories.
I don't have theories on Ashton yet. Like I think the meteorite theory, I think that goes out the window.
Oh yeah, that definitely. That's we know where
we got where the wound in the head, where that came from now.
Yeah.
They grew up in a state home. I feel like there's something there that we're gonna find out about later, probably.
It kind of stood out to me that Ashton's still using the name Nobody in their dealings with JH, which makes me think that inside they don't think they matter, that they're a nobody, because even their own crew left them.
Ooh. That's
Yeah.
deep. It's sad.
I have some trauma theories for Ashton that we'll get in our prediction video because I've got so many. I have so many thoughts on Ashton right now.
Okay, let's talk about the date before we talk about the fourth B&E in that 24-hour period.
So many B&Es.
But let's talk about the date. The date went pretty well. They didn't stand up pretty, which was my major fear, was that they would just forget.
And yeah, that's that the cast would forget, not because that's out of character for the actual characters. But like, let's be honest, it's been a week. Shit happens.
When you're playing D&D, you forget things. You forget things.
Exactly.
You forget
And
parts
they
of your
almost did
own
forget.
backstory.
I forget who reminded them, but somebody reminded them of their date.
I think it was Leo.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody reminded them of their
Someone's
date.
like,
and they
"Oh,
were
you
like,
have a date."
Yeah.
It
So
was
they
Sam
almost
or Leo.
forgot. Yeah.
But the date went pretty well, but pretty at the end of the night. Let them all down easy and let them know that it wasn't them, it was him. and I feel like that was Matt's way of letting the party know and letting the viewers know that there's probably not going to be an NPC romance this campaign. That's what I feel like he was doing there.
I kind of get the same feels, but I really hope not, because I like Matt NPCs, and honestly, I kind of my like hopes for the campaign was that Laura does a romance with an NPC, because I don't think she has yet. So like that would be really interesting and
I think it would be an interesting arc for Imogen.
Yeah,
having to open up
yeah.
because she's so introverted, and having to open up with someone who she feels like, a special kind of love for.
Yeah, and there's Imogen is either bi or straight. We don't know exactly, but the only love interests she spoke of so far are men. Mm-hmm. And it was just the once, I believe.
It was Sam.
Yeah, that's a terrible name. So that rules, that kind could rule out, like, if she ends up playing a straight character, which I think all of her other characters have been bi or ambiguous. Like, I don't think we ever found out for Jester, now that I'm thinking about it.
Jester, we really didn't. Her only interest ever was Ford, and Oscar, who was fictional in that fictional world.
And honestly, I think the same with Vex. Vex just felt bisexual. She kind of had that bisexual energy about her, but the only interest in the show was Percy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, I don't know, but that could rule out part of the campaign, or part of the other characters.
With Fern, do you think Fern was genuinely a little heartbroken when Pretty broke things off, or do you think, because Fern is a pathological liar, that whole thing could have been just putting on and giving a show?
Yeah, I kind of had vibes that she was just putting on. It felt like she was just fucking with him. That's the vibes I got from that.
It was good natured.
Yeah, it was good natured. Yeah, it was like. Yeah, like, I don't think she meant anything bad by it. Like, I don't think she ever means anything bad. Everything she does is good-natured. But I don't really see her and Imogen. Chetney is old as fuck, and I don't think Travis wants to do a romance this season.
No, he's not comfortable with it, and nobody should pressure him into it.
Yeah, I think that's why he chose a character that, like, he did. Dorian's temporary. I don't think Dorian is going to do a romance with any of the characters, no matter how much people want it, because he is temporary.
Now, Robbie, while we're on the topic of Dorian, Robbie did say Dorian said something in this episode that made me think that Dorian might be leaving actually pretty soon. And it was with, his brother and helping him out, and it was with the King Queen about the Sending Stone, and there was a little bit of dialogue that I can't remember verbatim right now, but it clued me in. I was like, he's thinking about leaving.
Yeah, and also when Ashton told their story, Dorian said, during that, when it talked about his brother, he said, I don't want you all to get hurt doing something for my brother. If you got hurt doing something for me, I couldn't live with myself. And I was like, that's literally what all of y'all do. Like, that's your job right now.
It's what an adventuring party does.
Yeah, so, like, I don't know if that was like a Dorian trait or if that was Robin being like, oh yeah, my end's coming up, let me start hinting towards it type thing. I don't know. I did get a couple of hints that he might be leaving. And I do have hints that he might like people in the campaign. I just don't think anything's going to come of it because I think he's going to leave before that happens.
And the last thing for episode 10, the B&E. 4 B&Es in 24 hours game time?
I don't know. I get mixed up on game time, which I know a lot of
It was
critters
at least
do.
3. I think it was 4. And so they went back to the tower that Chetney had, broken into the office and then dove out the window. And they went. One of the things that threw me off, and we've talked about this. We almost argued when they went through the little hole in the wood that they put up to cover the window. Matt says it's this wide, and the only people who had to roll to get through that hole was Fern and FCG. And I get why they had to roll, because Fern's got the big poofy gown and she's got the horns and just stuff that's going to get in the way.
Yeah, she's got horns.
And FCG is bulky, and it's not like he can.
Squishable.
And he's not like he can suck his gut in because he's metal.
Yeah.
But I feel like Dorian's got pretty big shoulders. I feel like he should probably had to have rolled. Imogen and Laudna are tiny, so no. But Ashton, maybe. I don't have a good sense. Like, Ashton's relatively tall, but he does seem kind of slender. So I could go either way whether or not Ashton would have to roll to get through. But just from a DM, I think Dorian for sure should have rolled to get through that hole.
And I disagree, obviously. I'm like, I mean, going this way, you can just turn sideways and go through, and they're both pretty thin. So.
Because he didn't really clarify how tall the hole was.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
was this wide.
Yeah.
And I just was picturing like a square this wide.
Oh yeah,
and
square like that. Yeah, maybe not, but no, I was picturing more like slats with like maybe like a foot wide, but like 4 feet tall. That was my mental image
like
of
bottom
it.
to top, but like that's
like the height is like
it's
3
like
or 4
this.
feet.
See, I'm picturing like a foot by foot square that they were squeezing through.
No. That's not what was in my mind. Immediately in my mind was like a fence where like they have the boards and then there's like a top one and then a bottom one across. Yeah, that's okay. Now I'm like why would they have to? They could just turn sideways.
In my own defense, it was 1 o'clock in the morning last night, and I was tired, and I was up till 1 o'clock in the morning last night, so I was tired all day today during my rewatch. So, cut me a little slack. They did get back in, and Chetney found the trap that they left on the desk, and he drilled a little hole in the door. Freaking genius, Travis!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
That was
He opened the thing, and they went down. And we did get a comment on our last video that a person did not think that Ira is the Nightmare King. I think it's pretty much confirmed.
Yes,
Ira is
the description of Ira down. Well, we don't know that that's Ira. We assume that that's Ira.
Yeah,
it feels
could be
pretty fucking obvious that has to be Ira.
I mean, is Ira kind of a weird name for the Nightmare King to have as an alias? A little bit.
I mean, I have theories about Ira too. That we'll get into in our next video.
But they did almost sneak up on the Nightmare King. Apparently the stealth rolls just weren't quite good enough, though.
Not quite, I think is what Matt said.
I cannot wait to see this mini.
Oh,
it's gonna be so awesome.
The description of Ira was very Slender Man. Like, that was immediately my mind.
Slender Man / Pumpkinhead, yeah.
Yeah, like, I was like, oh man. Yeah, except Slender Man doesn't have a face, so obviously he had to do something with that. But, like, 7 to 8 feet tall and super skinny, and he sits down and his legs are up here and he looks like a spider. I'm like, that feels like Slender Man. That absolutely feels like Slender Man.
I got like Slender Man, Jack Skellington, the Headless Horseman with the pumpkin head. Yeah. I'm like, there's a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah, a lot of inspiration.
I have a feeling that Matt got a mini and he was like, I got to make a character out of this. Like, maybe he backed a Kickstarter or something. Because there was a lot of horror Kickstarters for minis last year. And I have a feeling he might have found a mini that he's like, I got to do something with this. And I'm really excited for it. Okay, I think that is all we have for this video. If there's anything at all that we missed that you think we should have talked about, let us know down in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please let us know by dropping a like on it and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already.
And thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.